After loosening the V-band clamp, it is now time to remove the center cartridge from the exhaust housing. Many times these two halves can be seized together due to rust and corrosion, and oftentimes it is necessary to hit it with a hammer, and in worst case scenarios possibly use a torch to heat it up in order to loosen it. Now you can see the exhaust side of the turbo, and in this particular case it is a variable geometry turbo vane, which you can see is full of soot. Now that we have everything disassembled and the actuator valve is freed up, you can see how the actuator valve moves the turbo. And what happens is these blades of the turbo can actually be recessed into these holes in the exhaust side of the turbo. The way the variable geometry turbo works is, depending on the position that the engine calls for, it will place these parts of the blades in these holes to restrict the airflow accordingly. So therefore you can have variable boost from the turbo depending on what the ECM in the engine requires. Now that we have the center cartridge removed from the exhaust housing, we're going to place the center cartridge exhaust side down into the turbine shaft locking plate in a vise. Now we are going to remove the turbine blades from the intake compressor side of the turbo to aid in the disassembly of the center cartridge. Now we are going to continue disassembling the center cartridge, as you will witness here. We're removing the O-ring seal. Removing the mounting bolts.